Okay, so after a false start, here we are for another session of Cardano for non-techs. Like I said, I'm a different address today. I'm a bit, I was jogging, so sorry for the appearance, but let's crack on. How are you doing? Have you been trying new things?
Yeah, I've been just playing around with different wallets a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to start with giving us a run through so just we can break from the standard format of documents and everything? Would that be
Okay,
okay?
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me just enable screen sharing because usually it's disabled. There we go. And
Okay.
I'm just going to mute and enjoy the presentation. If you could give us an end-to-end or an overview of things, that would be great.
Yeah. Um.
It's on the centered bottom. It should be like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
square with.
I'm just trying to find which tab I'm gonna share.
Okay.
There are quite a few of them.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, um, I mean, I've not really done much. Like I was just busy moving to my new dorm in college. Yeah, so um well, it was quite fun. I was trying to um send to multiple address in one transaction, like using Eternl, but I don't think that worked in the end.
Okay.
So
So
I did,
Eternl didn't work.
yeah, it didn't work.
Okay.
So I did found this Typhon Wallet, which well someone else told me about it.
I
Because
did take a
I
quick peek and I find it very, very user-friendly. So
yeah, I like the interface very much.
yeah.
Because I do need to send quite a few transactions for other work stuff. So yeah, but I've never really used it on testnet. I was just like
So
trying that
okay,
out.
so you went straight to production and you didn't really sandbox it on testnet. That's great.
Yeah.
Cool. So what we can do here is import your, because you don't want to use, hi Wenxing,
Yeah.
welcome.
Hi, sorry I'm slightly late.
That's fine. It's fine. We had a false start as well, so we'll probably be a few minutes late. Yeah, so you can still go from your text file and import the mnemonics, which is what I already did on mine. So
Yeah.
maybe if you want to share,
I'll do that.
yeah. Hongsheng, we're just trying Typhoon today. Lucy was going to give us a share experience, but because she's only used it on production, we're going to go over the process of importing the seed phrase on testnet. So this is legacy testnet, not the new one. Okay.
Yeah.
So the same address and seed phrase that you had from the little file that we've been using, you can still do that on your machine if you want to play with Typhon Wallet. Let me just, while Lucy does that, I'm going to get the addresses into our, that sheet where we have our tools and everything. Because Lucy had shared those links on Discord, which was nice. So I'm just going to go straight to Discord and get them from there and drop them on our tools sheet. How are you doing on your side, Hunching? Any news? All good?
Yes, so it's getting easier because of some
Having a bit of trouble understanding. Could you say again?
Oh, you're talking about the extension. Yes, I'm downloading the extension.
Okay, the extension. Cool. I was asking more generically, how have you been doing? Have you been playing with things? Have you been using crypto or exploring DAOs and etc.?
Yes, I've been reading up quite a lot, but I need more hands-on experience and
Okay.
practice. So that's why I'm joining.
Okay. One thing that I've started preparing, you might have noticed on Discord, is Gimbalabs is preparing sort of this portal where we can log in if we have a specific token that is sort of like an access token. And so I've been trying to prepare so that we can use that on our sessions, because we're going to run that on pre-production. So that should be good for us to have hands-on experience with a dApp on testnet, on pre-production, I mean.
Yeah, I think I've actually got that token like
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, we need to take a look at that. So if you take a look at the tools, I see there's someone accessing the document. So I've dropped it on the links and tools. I'm just going to name it here, Typhon. Okay, not available for now in pre-production. Switching back. So can you see your
Yeah.
wallet now? Great.
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, I was just saying I quite like his interface because, well, you can send to one address, but you can also add more recipients just by like how you would normally send a transaction. So you don't have to go into coding things, which is nice.
Like those little inputs and outputs and all those things, right?
Yeah, because that's something I never really get right.
Yeah. Okay. So you just add the recipient. Do you have an address book then?
I don't think I've got one at the moment. Or
Because in Eternl we can like favorite the addresses that we're using, and from there we can just select them
yeah,
for the
I
next
think we were
transaction.
able to wait. No. I haven't really explored that bit, but
Okay.
I don't see anything.
Well, let's do it together. We can take a quick glance around. No rush.
Yeah.
So you have the send tokens. Oh, one thing I noticed when I was taking a look at it, and we may take a look, I have GameChanger open and everything, is that it's more user-friendly for this part of sending to multiple addresses, because you can just add the recipients and you don't care about the inputs that you're putting into it. But it does not seem to have the address book. And in terms of token management, like NFTs and the tokens that have an icon for themselves, it's not that user-friendly.
Yeah.
Well, it is, what I mean is it's not showing the icon. So if you go to tokens, could you, how do you see your tokens?
Well, I
yes,
could.
you have the assets.
Yeah.
No, sorry, there, yeah, but there you're just adding assets to a transaction, right?
Yeah.
So what I mean is on the left
like-
side, you have the main menu, which has home, staking, and assets. That's your asset balance.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's the interface that I was comparing to GameChanger and Eternl, where you don't see the icons of them. You just see the button there to send those assets.
Yeah.
And also one thing that I felt may not be so user-friendly on this one is that it doesn't have a mobile option. Does it?
I've been using on web, so
Yeah. So the thing is, Eternl, you can use it both sides, Eroi as well. But this one, I only found it for browser. So it's a good evolution on what you would do with a Eroi wallet, but I won't think it's so good for the sending to multiple recipients, especially because of the stable address books. Because you still have to keep an address, which is fine if you have a sheet like we do. But if even when you want to look at the transaction history, maybe since you don't have the address book, the transaction history here is just same as looking at Block Explorer.
yeah.
So everything is just letters and numbers. Okay, so thanks for showing us this. And one thing as well that's interesting there, it's the voting part. haven't used it so much. We spoke about this a bit on past sessions around Cardano is the network is ran by stake pool operators to which we delegate our right to mine. So everyone holding Cardano has a right to mine blocks, but we delegate it to people that are actually running servers to do that. Yeah, so it has a voting sheet, a voting tab there, but in the end, it's really just telling us to download the official app for voting.
Yeah.
So it's just routing the users there. Okay, so thanks for that. I was also noticing it has a dark mode, which is very in high demand. People just like, oh, I only use it fast. Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen now. Wanjing, do you want to share something of what you've been experimenting with before we go to the topics?
Oh, no, it's fine. I will just watch your screen first.
Okay, but what I was thinking is like from going forward, since we've had this is the 8th session already. Whenever you have things that you want to share, drop them on the board, come by, and we can toggle between. And I'm also thinking about this because I'm starting to relate with a partner from Uganda. No, sorry, Congo, from Congo, and he's probably going to give the course in French. I'm challenging him to come over to our sessions from time to time. There's also Roberto, who I'm meeting later today. He's translating Gimbalabs to Spanish, and he's probably going to do a spin-off of this course as well, which is not necessarily a course. So he's just going to reinvent, use the same type of approach, learn from us and exchange ideas with us. So we're going to start having, hopefully, a mix of people that are coming to these sessions that are pure just learning, and other people that are already sharing on their own spin-off courses. So maybe we can exchange ideas. Okay. Cheers.
Okay, sorry, I would try not to speak too much because it's a bit noisy here.
Yeah.
But I will check out the Miro. But the last time I checked out Miro, I didn't have the permission to edit anything. So I'm not sure if it's because I don't have my laptop with me, but I'll check it out right now.
Yeah, there's two types of links. Initially, I was sharing a link that really doesn't give you that permission, but the second link I updated on Discord is a link that's sort of like, you can read it on the URL. It's like a workspace invitation. And because it's an invitation, it's already onboarding you. As long as you create an account and adhere to that workspace, you'll be able to edit. Okay. I'm looking forward to your contributions there, and I'm going to continue maturing it as well. Okay, so let's jump into my screen. Here we go. I have a lot of stuff open. Let me just zoom out for a bit. So this is personal. And what else? I can close. I'm not going to close it. I don't want to close our session. What else? This is not necessary either. And this is the seed phrase, which I've already imported into here. So like Lucy was showing us, I also did this importing of my seed phrase. And as we've spoken, all my transactions are on the blockchain, and now Typhon can check it. So, okay, let's leave it there for a bit. Just to illustrate what I was pointing out is like here, for most of the things that I have, I can see them a bit more transparently on GameChanger. So I have the icons there, and I even have my other, which is my Gimbalabs testnet, where you can see I have a number of other tokens, and for some of them, I don't know who sent me this. Yeah, for some of them, we can see a bit more detail on the NFTs than necessarily on that one. Speaking of which, for example, here, we also don't have that feature of address book. It's amazing how something that simple as sort of a short list of names and addresses can be a facilitator of use cases. Like you guys, you're managing a lot of learners, and you need to send things, right? So it's something that should be in all, I would say, all the wallets, but only Eternl is doing it for now. What else do I have around here? I think that was it, but just to illustrate, since we're on that train of thought, here I have my Eternl for both these identities. And this one's still loading. Here I'm on pre-production. And I think this one is the main one for our course. So this is where we can see as well what I've been pointing out about. So here when I was sending to team blue and team other color, or the two colors we had, when I come down here, although you do have the inputs, which is like Lucy was saying, the technical part, it's still a lot more user friendly here, because we have these labels. And on that one too, I'm pretty sure that I saw something about Eternl reinventing its user interface and separating a bit what's the user-friendly view and the more technical view. Because since they have all this detail, if they hide the addresses or make them only on miles over or something like that, if they hide the inputs, for example, it would clean up the UI a lot and make it more user-friendly. Just still to close on this review, let's check here. So we have info pin transaction. So this seems to be a bit more in depth on the wallet than exactly what the other one was saying. So I've never done this. This is something that we could prepare for future sessions, because, but now we're going to have to wait for another fund, because fund 9 has passed. And on that topic, one thing that we could put in our board is as well, maturing ideas around Catalyst, because you probably heard about it. No? So we should make an introduction for it. And I have some friends that are entrepreneurs and everything, and they don't know about Catalyst enough. So I'm just going to close this one. And I was thinking as well of opening up our Miro board just to keep it handy. So I have an identity where I have my Miro, because it's tricky with the login. And so I go through here. You could also, sometimes I'm not sure if it's having troubles with all my extensions, especially on my main identity, which I have tons of extensions. That's why I always run Miro on a simpler identity. Even here, it's lagging a bit. So let me just go to a private browser and go to Miro. Hopefully this will work. Okay, let's give it some time. Going back to the main document here. So we're already 20 minutes into our session, but we're getting to this now, which is fine, because we're sandboxing things in general. So just to recap a bit from previous sessions, what we did on the last one and what we were doing on the last one with you guys was this type of sending to several people. So you missed last session, you missed that I was going over this in detail about, after the call, I ended up submitting the transaction that we spoke about, which is this one for you guys. And I detailed here very detailed in a detailed manner everything that was happening in that. So I really invite you to see our video from last week, where I'm going over this in a fair amount of detail. And what else did we do? Yeah, I did an intro to Miro as well. So hopefully this would work. Still not understanding why it's not working. You know what people say in Cardano often when this happens? The word is things may break, because they keep saying Cardano is an experiment and etc. etc. So it's starting to become a cliche in our minds. This is unfortunate. Let me just go to our Discord and get the link for the actual board instead of Miro.com. maybe we can confuse it a bit. Okay. Let's improvise. So yeah, so we did that part. Let's come back to this. One thing that I wanted to start with this on this session is actually pointing out that on the Discord for us, I was just dropping in there, not on the Cardano for non-techs, but around here on the Web3 channel. I dropped, for example, a link that is quite interesting because it's going to show us use cases for Web3. So this is just to show you that, although we're having these sessions and we're trying to bring content to these sessions, if you're curious about Web3 in general, crypto in general, doing your own research and exploring on your own time is going to be quite important for you to get to know things. So around here, you find a number of channels around metaverse. I was thinking about DAOs, for example. Maybe we should create a space here for that. Even portfolio management theories, if you want. There's a number of knowledge here spread out through here that I really invite you to keep an eye on. Okay, so let's just look around for DAO on our server. And if there's not a specific place, so this one, for example, I shared it on the Cardano for non-techs. This one I shared it in the Made in Portugal, Cardano for non-techs. So maybe what we should do is create a space to share about DAOs here. So what I'll do, just thinking of where I should put it, I would put it a bit between here, between Web3 and Metaverse. So I'm just going to create a text channel, call it DAOs, etc. DAOs and communities, for example. Okay. I'm not going to make it private. We have, for example, we have a private channel for the Cardano for non-tech tutors and for another project that we're doing. And I hope this is useful for you guys in terms of managing the Cardanox server as well. So now we have a space there. When Wanxing wants to share a bit about DAOs or myself, as you know, I still insist that you should come and get more used to working on Discord, because there's a lot of other communities. I'm running SWOT and pest analysis on this community. This is Gimbalabs, where we've where I'm learning to develop and where you guys are sending learners to learn Plutus as well. There's a number of, there's the European community here that you may want to keep an eye on, where they have channels in different languages. And yeah, so this was really just that topic that I wanted to talk about here, of, do your own research, keep in touch, explore a bit, whether on the web, on Discord, and bring questions to our sessions. In terms of following up from the previous session, when I was importing my Typhon wallet, I also noticed this message, which actually is teaching me a bit, because I had heard about the HD wallets, but I never really understood what it stands for, what the HD word stands for. And now I understand that it's more like a multi-address wallet. It's something that we haven't covered. But once, speaking of Lucy's transactions, I did see something here. Let me go to my Eternl, where I did receive 10 ADA from someone, and I covered it on the last call as well. Yeah, I'm not sure if it was this one or that one. Yeah, I think it was this one. No, this is a send. This is a receive. Yeah, it's this one. So this was Lucy's transaction from the address that I knew, but then she was sending it from her address to Nishan, Huangxing, and to myself, which is represented here as account 0. And what we see there is that Lucy was spending this balance that she had, this little like ADA bubble of balance, UTXO. And what we see there is that she sent an output for Nishan, an output for Hongxing, an output for me, and this is her change going back to Lucy's wallet, but it's a different address. So what this shows us is that when you did this send, you were using an HT wallet with multiple addresses. Okay, and that's why we on our settings here, we came over to Eternl and enabled the single address mode, because when we want to receive something, we just want to see this here like that, simplified. So this is maybe useful for you to really understand when you're managing things, if you're going through block explorers, that on this transaction, you didn't receive your change on the same address. So in terms of using it in a block explorer, you're not going to see it the same way. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So when you start having your balances fragmented through different addresses, you really need a wallet that can handle that. And some of them is the default, like Eternl and probably Typhon, or actually not Typhon by default. They were very smart in terms of user interface on how they presented it, because it's important that people understand when they go through this screen. That's what we're talking about here. Here, you're going to spread out your balances, and your change is going to end up in a different address, and etc., because that's the standard, and the wallet can grasp all that. And here we're keeping it simple. Okay, Nami, for example, works on this standard, and Eternl works on this standard. Typhon was more elegant and gave us the option and the clarification here. Okay, cool. So I don't know what's happening with my internet today. Like I said, I'm on a different address. I'm not going to reset my Wi-Fi. I'm just going to continue to improvise around what fails, which is good as well. I think it's an experience for me as a trainer. And also we have this part here, which is I didn't really bring to the document what we had planned to do, because we're improvising it as we go. So I'm going to go back to the Oompa Loompa server, to the channel where I was publishing yesterday, a sum up of what we can work on today. And I'm just going to drop this. Oops. There's a warning for 10 minutes. So we have 10 minutes to try to pick up some stuff from here as the core of our session. And okay, so maybe focus on this. What do you think?
Sure.
Here, maybe we can leave this for I can just give you a pointer on that. And this one, not for today, for sure. This we've done, which is great. I think that way we're covering things that are coming more from behind and clearing ground for forward. And this we're not going to be able to do today because my Miro is not working as well, nor do we have time. So just to get clear of this one very quickly, what I'm going to show you is on your on your GameChanger, you still should have the address. Either you made a favorite for it, or you can get it from the tools right there, GameChanger wallet. It's still just working on testnet, legacy testnet, not pre-production. And the simplest way for you to play with it a bit and get that airdrop of NFTs is, if you realize we have here a way to toggle between several addresses that you have on it. I actually imported Lucy's wallet and Gabrielle's wallet just by the wallet address, not by the seed phrase. So I imported it as a read-only, and I can see your address in my GameChanger interface there. So the same way we can toggle between these three, we have this one here, which is a default, which is like sort of GameChanger as soon as it's welcoming us to the session, to the tool. It's giving us a random address. And if I go to that one, it's still empty. And so the simplest thing you can do is, you probably have this burner. Burner means like it's disposable. And because it's still empty, my default burner, it has a flame icon because it's a burner. This one, it has, I think it's a keyboard because it's a passphrase. And these ones are just eyes because it's read-only. So long story short, if I go to my burner wallet, which is empty, and I click there, I think it doesn't even do any more interface. It just drops me a number of things. So it's probably, if it works, and I tested it in the past, it's just starting a transaction, and GameChanger is going to drop me, you see. So if you do this, yeah, you can then on your own time experiment a bit with the transaction that's now submitted from GameChanger to me. And in a few seconds before we close this session, hopefully we can still take a peek at this one. Okay. Now going to this topic, which is play a bit with the address book. Let's explore. So as you know, I've seen this part there. I'm not sure if we have one specific like main screen for the address book, because I think it's more like contextualized in certain places. But for example, now that I know that I've added some favorites to my address book, if I go to my send and I press there, it's really practical, right? We hadn't seen this on our sessions, and all we did was, for example, if I come to our sheet where we see each other's addresses and I get one that I haven't used, for example, Roberto's, I can come here. On the first time that I'm sending something to Roberto, I put it there, and then I click here and I name it, and there. So now it's probably recorded, and even if I don't go ahead with the transaction tomorrow, I can come here, and when I'm doing a send, I get it from the box, from the overall list there. Okay, this is the main, like I said, it's very, very simple, but it's really useful. And so now if I do next, this is a standard thing. If we go to the TX builder as well, I think, yeah, the guys could simplify this. In terms of comparing it with the Typhon Wallet, the main thing here is that you need to be adding, if you want to be oversimplifying, just add everything. So these are like the balloons of balances. Or you can just aim for the one that has more ADA if you're just wanting to send ADA. And that's a bit like that. And you can focus just on the add outputs. And then on the add outputs, you can go from the address book, select the person, and then select an amount like 40. And if I don't have tokens, I don't need to go to the add token part. So I just need to add. This is an output for Xing. And again, here, an output for Lucy. Let's do next. I'm racing through a bit just for time's sake, but I'm going to publish this on YouTube as soon as it finishes processing. Okay. And so what we missed on the last session that it stalled me was that I didn't realize we need to build this transaction. So what this does, it's a bit technical as well. So for this draft that I have on my UI, when I press build, it now builds the thing, including the change part for myself. And I can just revise it briefly. And after pressing TX, build TX, the next is enabled. And I can do next. And now it's asking me to sign. Guys, could you tell me how much time we have?
3 minutes.
Okay. I actually enjoy this because it's like against the clock, we practical, we get in, we do our stuff, and that's it. So transaction signed. I just made several people transaction using the address book to you too with the change to myself. You're going to be able to take a look at it if you browse my address there by clicking this link. And just to close, if we go to GameChanger, now I have a number of weird NFTs that GameChanger dropped me. Okay, so we fake USD and that's it. So yeah, we still have time for chatting. What else? could you please take a look in the Miro board and really just, I'm gonna have to put in a bit of work in there to, currently we have the middle part, which I'm trying to mature, where you can already vote and add things, but I'm gonna try to mature the part that was the past, where the 5, 6, 7 sessions we've done. I'm gonna try to put that content there to share with Roberto, with Paul from Congo. And we also need to break down into smaller pieces the things for our future. And I really hope that you can collaborate on that, because for me, I'm learning as I'm experimenting with you, and it's really gratifying for me. But I need to keep you on board, obviously, and it needs to be a group exploration. Also, if you have any friends that you want to bring on board, you know, non-technicals, okay? Curious people, young people, older people. Okay.
Okay.
Right. Also,
Yeah, actually this
oh.
term we're having like some events held by Cardano's, and we want to do some of the hands-on with them as well.
Yeah, you know, I started with this. I've been a trainer for many years. I've given music rehearsals. I've given expressive like in music and things like those, and even teaching Excel to 6-year-olds with colors and everything. So I think I really recommend that you learn how to communicate and share and practice that from here to outside of these sessions, and bringing people here so that you can teach them, or spinning off this course for people in other languages. So we're here to support you guys, and we're going to start having more and more resources for that in partnerships, I hope. Okay. See you next week.
All right, thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ciao.